Welcome, everyone, to the Monster Mile. The last great mausoleum for race cars and tires. Welcome to the Winstel Cup Series. 55 tried to qualify, 43 get to take part in the ASAN 400 presented by Visa. Race 8 of 20 in the Winstel Cup Series season here in Dover, Delaware. We're glad you're with us here for a wonderful Sunday of racing, an important Sunday of racing across the world here, including on ABN. So let's go ahead and jump right into it here tonight. Points going into this event. It is Jose Solis Jr., top of the board. Christian Budd, Emily Howe, Dylan Roberts, your top four. Gabriel Mauricio, Brennan McGee, Sean Pellig, Mike Rasmus, Christina Ryan, and Michael Guest, your top 10 through the first 7 races here this season. A wild time to be considered as we look further down this running order. Jacob Potak, Colin Keister, Josh Chen, Ryan Andrews, and Kirk Marble on the outside looking in regards to the chase for the Winstel Cup. Parker Alexander safely in the top 20. Same with Nick Doucette, Evan Locke, Brandon McKissick, and Andy Trupiano rounding out that 20th position in the points going into this race. Reminder, it's not just being in the chase, it's being top 35 in points to be locked in to the next race instead of having to pre-qualify M. Larry Pace safely in his results, his most recent podiums, helping buoy him into the top 35, almost into the top 20. Tyler Head, Andrew Ferrinares, Lucas Davila, Alex Bates, Philip Snipes, Brandon Coppinger, Tyler Murray, Aaron Smith, and Blake Cannon, your top 30, all of them safe as well. It gets a little bit sketchier here. Ryan Moyer, Tom Willett, TJ Crampton, Brandon Cruz, Ryan Daly, your top 35 cutoff line there ahead of Jeff Yinich, Ryan Hill, Tom Whitmore, Evan Melanson, and James Grantham, who were on the outside looking in. Melanson, one of the 15 that got to pre-qualify in. Several of the top 35 drivers not here in Dover. Gives some extra space to those drivers on the outside looking in. Even further on the list, you have Craig Lautenslager, Kyle Benson, Corey Cook, Chris Champeau, Steve Brown, Anthony Krobach, Bryce Saucier, Corey Steinhauser, Thomas Lewandowski, Jordan Barabee, your top 50. But as the talking point has been for Winstel all season long, a lot of drivers on the outside looking in, trying to qualify in here. Lucas Strayer, Hayden Rapa, Hunter Waters, Zach Tyndall, Alex Chilcutt, Christian Strader, Ken Huff, Austin Reedy, Roy Collins, Chris Bishop. You'll see several of those names here tonight. Rocky Boy, Joe Boehner, Bailey Thompson failed to qualify tonight. Matthew Molnar, Ty McWhorter, Steve Yinich, Dan Breckus, Ryan Doucette, Tyler Saville, and Mike Alexander among those that did not make the field tonight. Dale Davis, Tyler King, Logan Kress does make his appearance tonight for the first time. Joseph Pashota did not appear outside of attempting to qualify for Daytona. Front row racing with Logan Kress in the field tonight, qualifying in through pre-qualifying. Matt Skipper, Michael Sturgill, and Steve Buchanan round up the 77 that have tried to qualify for a Winstel Cup race so far this season. Not everyone can say that they have, but some will make those first appearances here tonight. Qualifying is largely completed here. Quality results currently, see if we can get them on your screen. This is what they're looking like at the moment. Jacob Potak, 23.394 ahead of Christian Budd, Blake Cannon, Lucas Davila in your top 4. Again, Lucas Davila, impressive in qualifying. The Argentinian has really stepped it up when it comes to one-lap pace. Still waiting to see him break through in the race pace, but he is getting it figured out slowly and surely in the 19 camp for Ray Evernham Motorsports. Tyler Head, Andrew Ferrinares, Colin Keister, Gabriel Mauricio, Jose Solis Jr., points leader, and Andy Trupiano currently top 10 in the running order here to kick things off. Austin Reedy, Sean Pellig, Dylan Roberts, Nick Doucette, Ethan Winters making his debut in Winstel here tonight alongside Thomas Lewandowski. They're in row 8. Matthew Seeger also making his debut. Could be a lot of fun to see how this all shakes out. That being said, it is almost race time here in Dover. And we are glad you're with us for what should be a very fun race ahead. Jacob Potak on the grid, your pole sitter, defending Winstel Cup Series champion. Starting grid will run at the bottom of your screen. The Monster Mile. It is the concrete cavern, the mausoleum for race cars. It is a tire eater. Miles the Monster is hungry. Kick things off here. 100 laps here at Dover Speedway. People said Dover's not a popular racetrack. Winstel said, watch this. 55 tried to qualify. And here we go. Starting grid at the bottom of your screen. Get you up and familiar with who's going to be where. Both Team Red Bull cars down the order, row 14 and 15 on the outside lane. That's some big-time names in this field ready to go for Dover. It'll give us 44 cars, if I'm not mistaken here. TJ Kempton in 23rd. I'm seeing Zach Tyndall also on the racetrack. So I do believe we are going to have 44 take the start here in Dover. Kind of a look through here. 2 laps of formation. Jacob Potak going into the night. He missed Daytona. He started every other race since. 2 wins, 2 top 5s, 2 top 10s, a pole position. Make this his second pole position. Can he convert it to a race win? We'll find out. Another former champion in the series on the front row, Christian Budd. Spotless. His starting record is 100% here. 7 starts, no wins, 3 top 5s, 5 top 10s. He's got a little bit better of a track record here. 1 pole position as well for him in that 17 car. Blake Cannon for Robert Yates Racing sitting in 3rd as we get ready to go racing. No wins, no poles, but a pair of top 10s, a pair of top 5s in his 6 starts going into tonight. Lucas Davila has not had the race results to line up. Can tonight be the night? Lucas Davila breaks through and gets that first top 5 of the season. He starts 4th ahead of Tyler Hebb. 5 starts, a top 5, and 3 top 10s for the 04 machine. He starts alongside Andrew Ferriners, who has not had a top 5 yet in this season. 2 top 10s to his name is where he's at so far, and this is the type of racetrack that he typically excels at. One of those top 10s happened at Bristol just a few weeks ago. Gabriel Mauricio for serving his suspension for intentional retaliation at Martinsville. Still top 10 in points. Still looking for his first win of the season as well. 5 top 10s, 2 top 5s. The only race not in the top 5 category was that race in Martinsville. Andy Cipriano in 9th on the starting grid. The top 5 is his best result so far this season. We'll see if that changes. Jose Solis Jr., your points leader. He's got a race win already. 5 top 10s, 4 top 5s. And he's going to be a threat once again here in Dover. It is almost showtime from the first state of the union. Potak, Budd, Cannon, Davila, your top 4. Welcome everyone to Winstel on ABN here on YouTube. The green flag flies, and we're right underway at the Monster Mile. Outside lane prevails lap 1. Christian Budd leads the way. Potak second. Davila battling Blake Cannon for third. As they come around to complete lap number 2. The ball comes at you pretty quick here in Dover, and Davila beginning to see that come to fruition. Trying to slot in there in front of Tyler Head. He does so. Lap 3 in the books. Whoa, trouble! Trouble! Huge crash. Tyler Head, huge into the fence and hit again. I think that was Logan Kress. Huge crash for Tyler Head. Emily Howe involved, it looks like. Huge crash early on here for Tyler Head. And we're under caution for the first time on lap 4. A huge crash to open up this race. What happened to Tyler Head here? This is going to be an ugly crash. He's behind Davila here, and he just gets loose. Car just snaps loose on the entry to turn 1. Overcorrection hard into the outside wall. Colin Keister almost gets a piece of it. Andy Tripiano does get a huge piece of it. Sean Peleg, I think, gets a little lucky. Solis gets a piece of it here. I think I called it out wrong. It was not Logan Kress that got a piece of it. It was the 31 and the 55. Ryan Moyer and Emily Howe. Logan Kress was on the apron going through the accident scene. So Logan Kress, 37, made it through. Philip Snipes up near the wall, the other blue car that we saw on the screen. Alex Bates goes all the way to the apron trying to get through. Huge track blocker. That is a huge concern about this racetrack, too. These are not small race cars, and any crash can be a massive one, and we saw that on display fully here on lap 4. Over a dozen cars involved. A slight moment of oversteer turns into a massive overcorrection. And very quickly, day done. At least for Tyler Head, if not for others. Here at the Monster Mile. Very early days in the race here in Delaware. Let's see if we're on board here with Emily Howe. Because it's not a fun experience. Emily Howe, one of those getting repairs for damage. Not a whole lot you can do in that situation. There's the 09 of Kirk Marble getting a piece of it. Christina Ryan, I think, goes to the inside and hits the wall a little bit. The 66 of Melanson gets involved. Let's see if we can go on board with Melanson. He's to the inside of Coppinger. You see Christina Ryan gets tagged. Ooh. Kyle Benson was the 83 that got through beforehand. So one team Red Bull car got clipped. The other skated on by. We're right on board with the former ABN World Champion. See, there's teammate there, Kyle Benson, and getting a 3D view of the 83 car as the 83 went to the apron, and the 84 had nowhere to go. So, a huge crash here to open things up. Lights out on the pace car, which means we're getting ready to go back racing. Single file. For those new to the Winstel rules, they don't do double file restarts here. It's single file. If we'll use double file to lap cars. First caution of the day, there had not been any lap cars on the racetrack. 42 cars still on the racetrack on lead lap. Only 2 cars in pit lane, Ryan Moyer and Tyler Head. So we'll see how this fans out. But it is Christian Budd and Jacob Potak at the front of the field to get this party started once more. We're back underway in Dover. Wheel spin there for Bud. Puts him under threat from Potak. Potak had a little bit of help from Blake Cannon. And side by side they go through turns 1 and 2 on this restart. You hear the scraping of the cars bottoming out on the concrete. The defending champion and a former champion in trouble. Davila. Caution is out a second time. Car on the racetrack. That's the 41. Getting very close to clipping the 19 of Davila. Davila, minor damage after tagging the inside wall. That was Lucas Strayer, the 41. That almost came together with the 19. Thankfully, they both avoided collision. So on board with Davila, racing with Andrew Ferrinares. Just bounced off him a little bit, looks like. We'll take a look here from high above. The 19 and the 74 out of turn 4. And I think it looks like Davila just kind of washed up the racetrack just a little bit. Fair news comes down as a result. And Davila, I think, does a really good job of keeping this car from returning to the racing line. Because just like what it could have been with Tyler Head's crash earlier in this race, this could have easily been a half a dozen or more, because that was a battle in the top 10. And instead, Davila keeps it on the apron. And minus the 41 of Lucas Strayer, everyone gets to go through without any fuss. And so another quick reset here as we sit under caution for the second time. Challenging race for sure. Absolutely. Well, we've got you here under caution. QR code on the right of your screen, as well as in the description down below. Access to our Patreon. We have a lot of stuff coming up this week on Patreon. Beyond the Driver's Seat with Emily Howe coming up this week. We have different podcasts coming up as well. 3 different broadcasts on Patreon. The HTL Double Barrel Challenge tomorrow night from Charlotte and Chicagoland. The ABN Champ Car World Series, the final Arrowhead 500 on Wednesday. And then the CART IndyCar 500 qualifying on Thursday. All of that's going to be available on Patreon. Bunch you've already helped support ABN so far in the first couple months of us having Patreon. If you're interested, come on over and have some fun. There's a lot of exclusive stuff, an exclusive community. We'll be doing stuff like fantasy football. We'll be doing game nights this week as well. We appreciate everything you've done for us so far here, and we're excited to get things going even further this spring. Lights out on the pace car. Which means we're getting ready to go racing here. Pulling up the schedule for those that want to see some upcoming races here for us. The HTL Double Barrel Challenge is first on that list. As on Monday, finally Arrowhead 500 as we mentioned on Wednesday, Thursday, the CART Indianapolis 500 qualifying. All 3 of those events on Patreon. Next weekend, business as usual on YouTube. The Arcs High Octane series from right here in the Monster Mile, Dover Motor Speedway. Winstel heads over to the Pocono Mountains for Pace of Pocono Raceway next Sunday, right here on YouTube. Pace car is in, which means it is time to get back underway. The green flag flies. Second restart of the night. This time, Potak goes to the outside lane. Cannon chose the bottom. Left Christian Budd in the middle, and Potak gets back to the front. And we're back underway. A lot of bottoming out here on the concrete. Tires got to get up the temperature, get up the tire pressure, which builds with the heat. But all of that takes some time. Battling side by side, Colin Keister, Sean Pellick. Keister on the outside lane, trying to find his way now around Andrew Ferrinares in the 12 machine for Penske Racing. He's on the charge forward. He's had a feast or famine season. Here he is into the top 5. Pellick also using the outside lane now to get around the 47 of Ferrinares, or 74 of Ferrinares. Getting themselves into a rhythm here. Trying to find those green flag laps to really figure out what you got in these race cars. For that on the order, Benson and Bates battling side by side further back. Benson trying to hold off the 00. Trouble further back, and I think that was... Who was that? Was that Kroback? It was Kroback. The 18, Anthony Kroback, inside wall, back straightaway. Third caution of the night. What happened to Anthony Kroback? Down the back straightaway. Was he assisted? Take a look here. This is the replay from high above. The 18, a little loose. A lot of power in these cars. Oh, huge check up there. And Kroback caught off guard. That is the 10. One of the Valvoline cars here, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, the 10, I believe, is Steve Brown. But Kroback hits the wall pretty hard and gets down on the apron. I guess we'll try to see what happened here to the 10 car, the Valvoline machine, just up the road. Oh, it's the 98. Oh, that's Matthew Seeger. That's who that is. The 98 of Matthew Seeger. Was not aware of that car being the Valvoline machine. Let's actually go ahead and take a ride on board here with Seeger. Well, we've got cars in pit lane. Yeah, he just checks up Ryan Hill, and Kroback unsighted to it. Not a whole lot anyone could do in that situation. Seeger just trying to avoid running into Ryan Hill, and unfortunately, Kroback also had a really good run. And Kroback's the one that paid the price for it. Colin Keister at the front of the field now. Top 4 have yet to come down pit lane. Keister, Ferrinares, Roberts, and Locke. Lights out on the pace car, which means we're going green at the end of this lap. Top 5 currently. So we'll find Colin Keister, Andrew Ferrinares, Dylan Roberts, Evan Locke Your top 4 that have yet to come down pit lane. Philip Snipes came down pit lane on lap 5. He has moved up into the 5th position as well. Second restart of the night up and coming here. Sorry, third restart of the night up and coming here on lap 21. 1/5 of the way completed. Green flag is back in the air. A lot of hip checking further back. It was, I believe, Blake Cannon that almost found the inside wall himself. 3 wide was Lewandowski, Cannon, and Christina Ryan. And Blake Cannon still fighting a lot of heavy throttle. From high above on the front straightaway. Now you go. Good look down the back straightaway towards turn 3 and 4. Here comes the 48 of Peleg. Mooncar driver Sean Peleg trying to move back into the top 10. This battle's for 11th. He's going to get that 11th spot from Christina Ryan and try to challenge his Hendrick Motorsports teammate there, Mauricio, in 10th. Lewandowski trying to surge forward here. Jacob Potak's gotten ahead of Evan Locke. Colin Keister leads the way. We have 41 cars on the lead lap. Evan Melanson circulating as well. When a couple laps down, had a technical failure in that 66 machine that was wounded on the lap 4 crash. And you can see some of the damage on the 66 car as he hangs further back with some of the other cars that have significant damage on those machines. Philip Snipes, some of those older tires in the field. He is struggling to hold position. He is now down to the 14th spot and falling. Jacob Potak, fresh tires on that 24 car compared to the 12. Being driven at the racetrack by the 12. Out of turn 2 they go. Potak driving around the outside of Colin Keister, gets back to the front of the field. Side by side further back behind Evan Locke is where you'll find Christian Budd, Gabriel Mauricio, Blake Cannon, and Sean Peleg. And the 15 of Nick Doucette's also joined the party. This is the lower half of the top 10 and just outside of it. As they sail into turns 3 and 4, the outside lane working pretty well on this side of the racetrack. Peleg and Doucette both go forward around Locke. Evan Locke down to the 10th spot. And Christian Budd's going to try to drive around the outside as well, and will do so. Not a lot of issue there for Christian Budd getting around the 33. The 33 beginning to flail, feeling pretty well overwhelmed at this point. Locke gets shuffled up the racetrack by Blake Cannon, who wants the inside lane to go forward, and he gets there too. Blake Cannon, heavy-footed. Had that car step around on him just a little bit. Had to breathe out of the throttle. Here comes the 78 of Rasmus. It's Rasmus, the 96 of Austin Reedy, the 55 of Emily Howe, the 47 of Jordan Barabee, also now in this conversation. As further up for the field, you've got the 8 of Dylan Roberts trying to hold on position. That's Mauricio getting his way around. Lewandowski's already gotten by. And the top 2 with oldest tires in the field that have yet to come down pit lane, Keister and Ferrinares, 2nd and 3rd on the racetrack. But Jacob Potak, with everyone else stuck behind some of these cars in traffic, has been able to set sail at the front of the field Lewandowski and Mauricio, they both get clear for third and fourth. And now they've got to deal with the 12 of Keister, who's not going to lay down in that second position. Blake Cannon trying to surge forward as well, trying to get around the 15 of Doucette and the 8 of Dylan Roberts. He does. He gets around both the DEI cars in one go. Move Blake Cannon up to 7th. Only 2 cars officially out of this race, Ryan Moyer and Tyler Head, both from the lap 4 crash. 42 still running. The only car off the lead lap is the 66 of Melanson, who, if a caution comes out right now, would get one of those laps back via the free pass, the lucky dog. Mauricio has caught right up to the 12 of Colin Keister, who again has yet to come down pit lane. Strategy call, looking at track position, how important that could be. They have plenty of tire sets available. It's just about timing. When do you want that pit stop to take place if you're calling Keister in the 12? The floodgates have opened. Here come the 2 other Hendrick Motorsport cars to try to give it a Hendrick 1, 2, 3. A little bit of contact between Keister and Peleg. They both recover. Mauricio firmly in second. And Peleg has to recover there in the 4th spot before giving it another go in 1 and 2. Blake Cannon's gotten around Lewandowski. Lewandowski now battling with Nick Doucette. And that is for the 6th position ahead of Christian Budd and Mike Rasmus. Peleg trying to get through, and he does. Sean Peleg up into the 3rd spot. It's a Hendrick Motorsports 1, 2, 3 here at the Monster Mile. Blake Cannon trying to follow through for Robert Yates Racing, and he will do so. Not clear, but he has the advantage into turns 3 and 4 now. Longest green flag run of the night. Trying to make quick work of the Monster Mile before moving on to Pocono next Sunday. A lot of shuffling further down the running order here. McKissick dropped 2 spots to both Ferry-Naris and Howe. They're both right there behind Kyle Benson, and caution has come out, and it's further down the field. Several cars in trouble. I believe that is Kroback again. That's the 32 at Crampton. The 99 of Lautenslager. If I'm not mistaken, the 66 might get his lap back here. We'll take a look at what happened. We'll focus on Lautenslager. He's the driver that could not return to pit lane under his own power. What happened here? This is on the front straightaway going towards turns 1 and 2. The 99, the 72, that is Lautenslager and Daly. Did the crash happen in front of them? No, it starts right there with Lautenslager coming across the nose of the 72 of Ryan Daly, who both eat each other up pretty high there. Crampton already committed to the inside lane there for turn 1. Kroback likewise goes to the outside lane, and unfortunately that door also closes. So heavy contact for all of them. Melanson squeaks through around Philip Snipes. The trouble there for the 4 cars all on your screen, and Lautenslager's the one that eats it the worst on the opening of that turn 1. Really, the exit of the pit lane is where he really kind of ate it the worst. Everything else he's sort of along for the ride with. And that does reset some things. Melanson does get one of those laps back. Still 41st, still the only car off the lead lap at the moment. But he does get the free pass. He does get to bring that car back down pit lane to get some more work done on that 66 car. Things are not quite over for him yet. Lautenslager effectively out of this race. And if we know anything about Dover Motor Speedway, we know that Calamity's not quite done just yet. We've not heard the last of the rippled up sheet metal. There is the free pass. Aaron's lucky dog for Evan Melanson, the Canadian driver. Now will be only one lap down, if I'm not mistaken. Lights out on the pace car at the front of the field. It is Jacob Potak front and center. Ahead of Gabriel Mauricio in second, Sean Peleg in third. Blake Cannon in fourth. Colin Keister rounds out your top five here in Dover for this fourth restart of the night. Pair of rookies complete the top five at the moment. Down the back straightaway as we get ready to go back racing to start lap 42 of 100. Thomas Lewandowski, Nick Doucette, Mike Rasmus, Christian Budd, and Austin Reedy in the top 10. Looking for more on this restart. Jordan Barabee, Ethan Winters, Brandon McKissick, Emily Howe, and Kyle Benson on the outside of the top 10 looking in as we get ready to go back racing. Almost showtime once again. It's a Hendrick Motorsports 1, 2, 3. And away we go once again. Green flag back in the air here in Dover. Blake Cannon on those restarts. He has been a menace on those restarts multiple times this season, trying to break up the Hendrick 1, 2, 3. Gets around Peleg pretty easily. Can he get around Mauricio? Mauricio really good at these concrete tracks. We saw him on the podium at Bristol. Blake Cannon really trying to let that car hang out a little bit. But it is a 3-on-1 assault between the 88 and the Hendrick Motorsports machines at the front. Can officially report that there are 39 cars left on the racetrack here. Krovac, Crampton, and Lautenslager still on pit lane. Waiting official word on if those days are done. Tyler Head and Ryan Moyer, they are done for the day. So still only 2 official retirements, but only 39 on the racetrack at the moment. As we await updates from those involved in the crash about 10 laps ago, as Jacob Potak leads the way. It's Mauricio, Cannon, Peleg, and Colin Keister, your top 5. Ethan Winters mixing it up here in his Winstel debut. Former RX High Octane driver. Now jumping up into the Winstel Cup competition. Having to qualify in. We'll have to try to qualify in several races in a row here, being a brand new entry to the series. But he's sitting right now in the top 15. 15th place exactly ahead of Emily Howe and Logan Kress. Good competition to be in if you're Ethan Winters. On board with him in that 39 machine. Both him and Matthew Seeger, Delta Sport representatives in this field, having to shed their Delta Sport liveries for the appropriate Winstel attire for this 2007 campaign. He's right there battling with Ferrinares and Kyle Benson. Ferrinares trying to find his way through in the inside lane. Benson with momentum on the outside lane down the back straightaway towards turn 3 and 4. And you can see it's busy in the back of the car as well. This is above the rear view mirror as Logan Kress tries to find his way around the 37, 39 side by side and move Logan Kress up into the top 15 for Front Row Motorsports. A little bit of latency there for Thomas Lewandowski as he tries to battle there with Rasmus and Nick Doucette. Nick Doucette, another driver, really good at these concrete tracks, really good at Bristol, finished 4th earlier this year at the last great Coliseum there in Thunder Valley. From the Coliseum to the Mausoleum. He is still doing pretty well in that 15 car. Lewandowski in the 9th spot. Under threat now from the 47 of Jordan Barabee. Brandon McKissick's also had a quiet race so far as we have crossed the halfway point. He is in the 11th spot, trying to surge forward. Remember, he started this race down in the 41st starting position, crashed during qualifying. Did not get a lap time, so he has had to really pick away at this. And so far, he's done a really good job of that. From the back of the field towards the front. Still some work to do here. But he has set himself up a pretty good sort of baseline to work with. Getting some green flag running in here. So we'll take a second. I'm going to refresh my drink up here in the ABN Studios booth. Sights and sounds are always beautiful here at Dover, especially when it's Winstel Cup Series action. Let's crank it up. Approaching 30 laps to go. We are under our final green flag pit stop sequence, the only green flag pit stop sequence of the night so far. The top 5 at this particular point in time is at the top of your screen. Jacob Potak, Colin Keister, Gabriel Mauricio, Mike Rasmus, and Christian Budd. The pit stops there going to be thick and fast here. Doucette down pit lane, Peleg, Greedy down pit lane, Kirk Marble, Lucas Davila. All in pit lane right now. Potak not bothered at the moment at the front of the field. He has done an outstanding job. Got the front of the field on the restart and has not looked back so far. Has not had to look back since getting clear of Colin Keister and Andrew Ferrinaires. Speaking of which, Ferrinaires right there in front of the 24. And down comes Potak to pit lane. Colin Keister will become the race leader with less than 30 laps to go. Potak, Mauricio, Budd, Lewandowski, Roberts, Barabee, Winters, Benson, Willett, among others down pit lane. Here comes Keister down pit lane this time. Rasmus and Howe follow through, which means the lead will be handed off to Brendan McGee, the number 9. Now out in front. Matthew Seeger behind him, the 98. Logan Kress, Ryan Hill, and Philip Snipes. Now your top 5. But all of them need to come down pit lane, as do Philip Snipes and Brandon Coppinger. Those are the last 6 that need to come down pit lane, though, this time. And then we'll have completed the green flag pit stop sequence. Speak of the devil, and it shall appear. Pit stops underway now. Getting down to that very slow crawl, 35 miles an hour. Coppinger stays out. So new race leader once again, it's Brandon Coppinger out at the front. Blake Cannon on the undercut will take the race lead over as things currently sit. Coppinger trying to go as long as he can. Cannon's going to unlap himself before that happens. And I think Coppinger's going to come down pit lane this time. He does. So Blake Cannon should be the race leader on the exit here, as the green flag pit stop sequence comes to an end without interruptions. Thankfully, that is the case. Otherwise, it could have been a very confusing time period getting everyone sorted out if that had happened under caution. So Cannon, Ferrinaires, Doucette, Peleg, and McKissick, your top 5 once they cycle around the pit lane departing Brandon Coppinger. Mauricio in 6th, Christian Budd, Austin Reedy, Kirk Marble, and Thomas Lewandowski, your top 10 as things currently sit. And you saw the car coming around down pit lane. That was Jacob Potak serving a speeding penalty. Both him and Colin Keister got dinged for speeding in pit lane on the entry. That moves them down to 36th and 38th. Colin Keister, I think his day is actually done. He's just put it behind the wall. Potak still going, though, in the 36th position, not where he wants to be, especially when he had the race lead pretty well in hand. Now it's in the hands of either Blake Cannon or Andrew Ferrinaires. Nick Doucette a distant 3rd. So penalties biting some of the race leaders. Battle for 4th heating up a little bit between McKissick, Peleg, and Mauricio and company. And there you see them. They're not far away from the 15 and Nick Doucette. That is Kroback, the 18, trying to stay out of the way of the leaders as they make their way through. Christian Budd's in this conversation as well. At 39, Ethan Winters also making his way around. He also got a speeding penalty. He is now down in 36th position. Potak up to 35th as Evan Melanson sits in the 37th position. He also just now came down pit lane. I think he also got a speeding penalty as well, the 66. Battle still going throughout the field. This is another good battle. This is at the edge of the top 10. Lewandowski trying to get into the top 10. Having to get around Mike Rasmus to do so, and also dealing with Jordan Barabee in that 47. Kirk Marble, the 09, also in this conversation, as is Austin Reedy. A little bit of contact. They go 3 wide through turns 1 and 2, and they will survive. Austin Reedy sort of being the floodgates that have not yet opened at the very edge of this top 10 conversation. Dylan Roberts is closing in, the number 8, that Budweiser Chevrolet. Emily Howe's closing in. Lucas Davila is closing back in. Benson and Locke also not far apart. And the battle still rages on. Rasmus trying to find his way around the 96 of Austin Reedy. Kirk Marble in the 09 in that top 10 position, but it's side by side with Lewandowski. They're battling at the front of the field as well. Here comes Mauricio and McKissick around Nick Doucette. McKissick up to third, but he's got to hold on ahead of Mauricio, who has been faster. Less than 20 laps to go. This is the battle for third. The battle at the front of the field is spaced out by about a second. And this is 2 seconds back from Ferry-Nares. So a lot of battles here in the top 10, especially at the moment. Still duking it out. Emily Howe's now arrived in this conversation to try to challenge for position here. Rasmus getting closer to Doucette, who's now down to 7th. Lewandowski gets clear of Austin Reedy. That is for the 9th spot. Reedy now in 10th and under threat. 3 wide, further back, that's for 11th position. Marble, Howe, and Barabee. And Dylan Roberts also in the shadows there. Keep an eye on that 8 car. The 47 outside lane will get around the 96. That's for 10th. And here comes Emily Howe, 3 wide with Kirk Marble. And Reedy just losing spots. Hand over fist, hemorrhaging position. He drops down all the way to the 14th position, and that still might not be enough for him. Further down the order, there you find Davila, Benson, Locke, Willette, and Ryan. All in that conversation. Mauricio under huge threat from Mauricio. Christian Budd into conversation as well. This is 3rd, 4th, and 5th in this battle for the last spot on the podium. Dodge, Chevrolet, and Ford all present here. Only one missing is Toyota. Your best Toyota at the moment would be down in 11th, Emily Howe. Mauricio trying to find a way around McKissick. McKissick taking his line around the racetrack to give him that dirty air and force him to use something else. Mauricio trying something different here. McKissick ran the bottom. Down the back straightaway we go. Approaching 12 laps to go. The gap at the front is slowly closing in. Ferry-Nares is closing in on Blake Cannon. Ferry-Nares, winless this season, trying to change that. 2 top 10s, no top 5s yet this season. Very surprising for him, given the short tracks we've already had in the Winstel Cup Series schedule. We've got to do a little bit of work to close back in on Blake Cannon to try to make that challenge a reality. Lap traffic being passed, it's Ryan Daly. Not posing an issue for the leaders as they go on through 11 laps to go. Battle here further back. Barabee, Peleg, and Howe. Howe on the charge forward, the 55, up to 7th place. Fresh tires, a good place to be if you're the 55. Gets around both. Lewandowski shadowing behind in that conversation as well. Car down pit lane. Tyler Head, he is back on the racetrack. He will move up to 43rd here. Every point counts. So he will get ahead of Ryan Moyer. Peleg still under threat here. At the edge of the top 10. He is now in 9th. Lewandowski in 10th. Roberts in 11th on the outside looking in. Points are always mission critical here in the Winstel Cup Series, especially as we get closer and closer to the chase of the Winstel Cup. McKissick trying to hold off an enlarging onslaught here. Mauricio in the 5. Christian Budd in the 17. Mike Rasmus in the 78 are now all in this conversation. And Emily Howe, if the pace continues for the 55, might have a say in this. But the accordion is closing. Between Blake Cannon and Mike Rasmus, that gap has shrunk across the board from everybody in that top 6. McKissick, the biggest mover by and far, up 38 spots from 41st on the grid. Now looking at second place with eyeballs on gaining at least one more spot here. Rasmus with a good chance to lunge at Christian Budd for the top 5. Budd was wise to it. Outside lane for the 17. Can he hold on to it? Rasmus staying right there with him. Right there lockstep. The 78 and the 17 side by side. The gaps are closing in as we approach 5 laps to go here at the Monster Mile. We're glad you're with us. It's been a wild race, and we could get our first time win of the season. Blake Cannon, the rookie, has had a couple of near misses. Can he seal the deal with 4 laps to go? Rasmus in the fence in 5th. Takes the pressure off Mauricio, who's going to try to surge forward. Outside lane no longer working as effectively as it once was. Ferrinair still closing that gap down to Cannon. Coming to 3 laps to go. Cannon trying to diamond the apexes there. Came off the middle of the corner. Went up a little bit higher and then cut back down. Doesn't quite get the diamond through here. And they are now under a blanket, nose to tail, top 5. Coming to 2 laps to go here at the Monster Mile. Two to go. Everyone's squirrely down the front straightaway. McKissick saw an opportunity, couldn't quite get to the 74's bumper. And we get ready to come to the white flag. It is Blake Cannon with the advantage. Everyone else battling for second at the moment. 1 lap to go here in Dover. The white flag is in the air. And the rookie, Blake Cannon, has a chance to steal the show. Battle further back. Mauricio's going to lose 4th to Rasmus potentially. Blake Cannon, a mirrorful of the dodge of Andrew Ferrinaires. It will not be enough for Ferrinaires. At a turn 4 and coming to home for the final time. Blake Cannon's a Winstel Cup Series winner. He takes Dover. Picture perfect for Blake Cannon when it needed to be. Dominant performance at the beginning of the race by Colin Keister and Jacob Potak. In the end, it comes for nothing. Speeding penalties for them undo their days. Blake Cannon hit his marks on pit lane and now gets to celebrate his first career Winstel Cup Series victory. And he gets to burn it down here on the front straightaway. In the fortress of Miles the Monster, Blake Cannon is the conqueror here tonight. as he celebrates. Let's jump through and look at the results. Unofficial, but I don't see a lot changing. Pretty good race here at Dover, all things considered, here tonight. Race results look like this. It is Blake Cannon, your race winner. The rookie grabs victory in Delaware ahead of Andrew Ferrinares and Brandon McKissick, your biggest mover from 41st to 3rd. McKissick rounds out the podium. We hear from all three of them here in just a couple minutes. Mike Rasmus in 4th. Gabriel Mauricio, your top 5 ahead of Christian Budd, Emily Howell, Jordan Barabee, Thomas Lewandowski, and Dylan Roberts rounding out your top 10 here in the first state of the Union here tonight. Missing out on the top 10 is where you'll find Sean Pellig and Kirk Marble ahead of Lucas Davila, Austin Reedy, Nick Doucette in 15th ahead of Kyle Benson, Christina Ryan, the Team Red Bull teammates, sitting 16th and 17th on the finishing order here. Evan Locke in 18th place, Tom Millette in 19th, Ryan Hill running out your top 20 of 44 cars. Of those 44 cars, 39 of them finished. It looks like 38 of them finished. Pretty good deal all around here. A little bit of attrition, but not as significant as it typically can be here in Dover. Logan Kress, his first race of the season, is a 21st place finish. The same can be said for Matthew Seeger, who finishes 22nd in his Winstel debut. Brennan McGee finishes 23rd ahead of Lucas Strayer. Jose Solis Jr. finishes in 25th position. The points leader taking another hit in the points, as he did in Martinsville. Philip Snipes 26th, Jeff Yinich in 27th. Brandon Coppinger in 28th ahead of Tyler Murray, and Alex Bates rounding out your top 30 here tonight. Andy Trupiano, Brandon Cruz rounding out your top 32. Cruz was the last car on the lead lap. Ryan Daly, the first car, 1 lap down the 72. Zach Tyndall in 34th, making his first race in a long time. I don't know if it's his first race at all this season. I think he's made one prior race, but it has been a sporadic appearance for the 28. He finished 34th ahead of the defending Winstel Cup Series champion Jacob Potak, 35th ahead of Ethan Winters. Speeding penalties undoing most of their days. Evan Melanson ends up 37th. It does not help him in the point series. He was trying to get back into the top 35. Tyler King, Anthony Krovac, and Colin Keister round at the top 40. Krovac and Keister not finishing the race here tonight. In the final group of 4, all of them DNFs here. TJ Crampton, Craig Lautenslager. Tyler Head did run one more lap before the end of the race, but he did not see the checkered flag. He ends up 43rd ahead of Ryan Moyer. But that rounds out our field of 44 here in Dover, Delaware. Podium interviews coming up here on ABN. Don't go anywhere as post-race interviews comes up here. Not sure if we're going to be able to talk to second place finisher Andrew Ferrinares. We will talk to third place Brandon McKissick to get things started off, though. Biggest mover of the race from 41st to 3rd in this race. Brandon McKissick, a wild race, but a good one for the 42 camp here at the Monster Mile.
Yeah, I'm happy with the result. Not that happy with the way I drove. I really was not as good as I usually am with saving tires, and really struggled to make any other lane work the way I wanted it to, due to just lack of experience, lack of knowing like the threshold in this car. I'm not saying anyone else does, because we've only run like 2-3 races in it, but I just need to know more personally in order to do what I should be doing long run. But I had to like survive in a different way. I pitted a little bit earlier, with like around 30 to go, and I had to be very scrappy. I knew that little patch on the bottom that has no rubber, if I can get my left sides in it, people were not going to pass me because there's just a little bit of grip there in the center that you can use. So I really was just able to do that to survive for a top 3, but it was intense. I mean, I was kind of worn out at the end. Definitely had to work for it with Gabe on me the entire time.
Obviously, the great unknown here, obviously, you talk about the COT sort of being a car that not a lot of people have run, at least not recently here. The increased horsepower, another factor that we had just a couple weeks ago, kind of come in and fall into our laps here. 41st on the grid up to 3rd is no small feat, regardless of how it happens. Obviously, crashes early on in this race helped reset the field, but we spent the majority of the race, over half the race, under green flag conditions. We had a full green flag pit stop cycle. We know how important it is to nail those pit stops here. How important was it being able to just rely on the natural instincts, the muscle memory to get to really hit your marks and get things forward here, because obviously qualifying didn't go well. We saw the crash in qualifying that didn't really set the tone fair. Um, but from there, it was showtime. And this is not the first time you've had the most positions gained in a race. There's definitely a lot of muscle memory that I think goes to that.
Yeah. Generally, again, I didn't feel as good as I wanted to tonight because I just don't have the long run experience in this car yet. But I was just able to do what I needed to do in terms of lane choice, like knowing when to run high, knowing when to run low, and saving just enough tire to be able to pass enough people to get myself in a spot to at least finish top 5. A lot of it throughout the race in terms of survival is just being patient. There's a lot of times where I could and probably should have taken it 3 wide, but I know that it's better instead of causing a wreck just to ride for a corner or two, knowing like what my skill is, just being more patient, knowing that as long as it goes green, I'm patient and just make the right decisions in traffic, that I'll finish top 10 or top 5, which is thankfully what happened. And it definitely teaches you self-discipline that you can obviously trust yourself in a field like that, that even if you're not moving through like the field with 8 cars a lap in certain parts of the race, you'll still end up on top of a lot of people as long as you just get a good pit stop and just do the little things correctly, if that makes sense.
I think it definitely does here, and this is the time of season where it's going to be more important to start getting more and more of those little details correct here. The chase looms in the distance, and it gets closer and closer and closer. This was a difficult race. Everyone was expecting it to be difficult here. We still have 55 cars in attempt to qualify for this race tonight. We go from one difficult racetrack to another, built on compromise, Pocono Raceway in 7 days' time. I believe it's in the Gen 4 machine, but we do have the extra horsepower, so it's going to be about 800 horsepower in total on that Gen 4 machine, like we saw last week as well. What is the expectation going into that race in Pocono?
Yeah, so my goal is definitely to just do the same thing I did this week, to survive. When I am mired in traffic, just to be patient, not do anything too crazy. There'll be moments because it's just the way the field works. There's like a big division, like top to bottom in skill gaps, so things will happen. But I just need to just stay the course, keep the outside noise away, and just drive the car. And as long as I drive the car for my skill level, even though I'm not like used to either car to be honest, in terms of like how to drive it the best, but it's good enough to where I can just stay clean and I'll get the result I need. So I don't need to be forcing it or doing anything basically stupid or careless. And as long as I stick to that and pick the right strategy, I'll expect a decent finish there.
Going to be a lot of fun seeing how everyone handles the tricky triangle next Sunday. Before we let you go and let you sort of unwind and enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening, Brandon, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. A phenomenal drive from 41st to 3rd onto the podium with the most spots gained by far tonight. Brandon, take it away.
Yeah, thank you once again. Again, I'd like to thank Brendan for putting on the league, everybody for participating. Everybody's pretty passionate about the car, obviously. I'd like to thank the whole field for keeping it green toward the end. That was a good battle at the end, and there was some contact, but nothing malicious, just fun racing. And I'd like to thank just, again, you for broadcasting, everybody for being a part of it week in, week out.
A phenomenal race here at Dover Motor Speedway. Brandon McKissick sees some of the spoils of that good race, finishing 3rd here on the podium. Hopefully, we get to see you on the podium again and Pocono Raceway in 7 days' time. Brandon, congratulations, and enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you again next Sunday.
Thank you. I'll see you next week.
I don't believe we're going to hear from Andrew Ferry Nares. I don't believe we're going to. We will hear from our race winner, though, the man of the hour, the rookie with the breakthrough, Blake Cannon in the Car 88, a fantastic-looking Snickers Robert Yates racing machine. Victory lane for the first time in Winstel Cup Series competition. Walk us through it. We've seen some near misses. We saw some near misses here tonight. The car was very wily with that extra horsepower, but walk us through it, because that was a matter of not only hitting your marks, but also being in position to try to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. I think tonight was probably one of the harder races we've had to do. These cars are already on edge, and then you add the extra horsepower, and it was just all over the place there after about 15 laps. So, I was first one on pit road and short pitted everybody. I really thought the undercut would work, but I wasn't planning to cycle back to the lead and stay there. I really just had all intentions of, trying to close the gap between me and Potag, but unfortunately, he had a speeding penalty. I hate that for him. He was probably the class of the field. But that was a lot of fun being able to run 34, 35 laps there at the end.
It was a lot of fun here. Obviously, the run to the finish, obviously the pit stop there sort of breaks things up. The run to finish ended up being almost 60 laps long with how things sort of cycled out here. Dover Motor Speedway, not known for a lot of green flag running, not known for a lot of green flag pit stops. You talk about the penalty that Jacob Potek received. Hitting your marks is important. How important was it being able to stay on top of that stuff here tonight? Obviously, you emerged with the race lead and you never let it go from there. But how important was it getting that sort of going over all those tools despite not really knowing what to expect here at Dover?
Yeah, absolutely. I just, I felt really good the entire race, qualified good, and had probably top 5 pace. It was just extremely hard to pass. So, I know if I could get a little bit of clean air and not have to burn my stuff up by passing, a handful of people, I felt like I was going to be pretty decent. So I went until I thought I was right on the edge of not being able to make it on that last green flag run, and then that's when I pitted. So, and then being able to pit first, not have to, pit around anybody else, you just kind of, it opens you to allow you to be able to get on pit road a lot easier. So I probably gave up a little bit of time on the entry, but I knew that as long as I didn't get a pit road speeding penalty, especially here, 35-mile-an-hour pit road speed, that's the worst thing you can do is get a pit road speeding penalty. So just took it a little bit easy, got in the box good and got out good. And then, from there, I didn't want to burn my stuff up. And then luckily, I think that's what allowed me to hang on to it.
First win, obviously, we've seen the momentum so many times here on ABN across all the different stuff we broadcast here. Once you get your first, usually it's easier to find your second. We go from one track full of compromise to another in 7 days with Pocono coming up next Sunday. We know how fast the 88 car has been. Obviously, your name's been everywhere over the last few weeks here, especially in Winstel. What's the vibe feeling like for you for going into Pocono?
They're really good. Pocono's not notoriously one of my better racetracks, but I do enjoy it. But yeah, we've had a lot of success. I qualified really good at Martinsville. I had top 3, and then the Coke 600 came away with a 4th or a 5th. So we've had a lot of speed here lately, and being locked into the top 35 this week for the first time really took a lot of pressure off, and really allowed me to focus a lot on race trim and what I need to do in the race instead of so worried about having to qualify into the race. So extremely thankful that I was locked in and locked in as well for next week. So, we'll go back to work this week and try to figure out a game plan and hopefully be in the same spot.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to have to worry about being out of the top 35 in points after tonight winning here in Dover. Before we let you go and let you celebrate, if you want to shout and say thank you to the floor is yours. Phenomenal watching the 88 car race around this season. I know we got a lot more racing to go here. Still 12 races to go after tonight. So the floor is yours.
I just got to thank everybody at Winstel. This is a hell of a league. I mean, I love it. This is the one night a week I look forward to the most. So a lot of really good guys that make you better week in and week out. So hats off to everybody. The fact that we were able to go 60-something green flag laps right there, that's pretty impressive. So hats off to everybody. Good race, Jacob, Christian, Andrew. Good to see Brandon have a good finish. But just got to thank everybody at RIR and Snickers for allowing me to jump in halfway through the season. And thank you for all that you do in ABN for broadcasting. It surely is appreciated.
It's a lot of fun watching these Winstel Cup Series races as well. Blake Cannon breaks through. The rookie grabs his first career Winstel Cup Series victory here at the Monster Mile. Blake, congratulations. Hopefully we'll talk to you again over the course of the rest of this spring, at least a couple more times, if not more. But congratulations, a well-earned win here in Dover.
Thank you.
That was Blake Cannon, our race winner here tonight. Outstanding from the 88 camp. Obviously, a matter of hitting your marks when others fail to do so. The saying typically goes, luck is the intersection of talent and opportunity. We've seen the talents. Today came the opportunity, and Blake Cannon victorious here in Delaware as we conclude race 8 of the Winstel Cup Series season. We got a lot coming up here on the the ABN schedule. We hope you join us for the variety of things coming up here. Tomorrow night on Patreon, it is the HTL Double Barrel Challenge. Xfinity cars at Charlotte and Chicagoland. That is tomorrow on Patreon, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. On Wednesday at 9 p.m., it is the final Arrowhead 500 for the ABN Champ Car World Series in our final season on Wednesday nights. That is also on Patreon, again, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. On Thursday at 7 p.m., it is qualifying for the 5th CART Indianapolis 500. Over 40 cars trying to qualify for 33 positions. All that begins on Patreon, 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday. We're back on YouTube this weekend. And we're back here at Dover on Saturday. The Arc High Octane Truck Series heads to the Monster Mile at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Recent time change has changed things for the series there. 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time for the Arc High Octane Series from the Monster Mile. Back here, 8 p.m. Eastern Time is when we see the green flag. Winstel Cup Series action from the Turkey Triangle. The Pocono Mountains welcome the Winstel Cup Series next Sunday for race 9 of 20 in the 2007 campaign. If you're confused on where to find some of the stuff we have coming up this week, it's in the description down below if you're watching this live or on demand. It's also available on the QR code on the right side of your screen. Scan that, come on and join us. Subscriptions as low as $5 a month. If you were subscribed to us on Twitch, it's the exact same price. You get podcasts, exclusive community content, behind-the-scenes content of all the work we do here at ABN, as well as stuff that we do not post over on YouTube. So come on in, enjoy the fun. We're glad you've joined us so far for the first 6 years and this new era here on YouTube. And before we say goodnight, a fantastic shout out to all of our Patreon Premier Tier supporters whose support has been so greatly appreciated over the last couple months as we've moved from Twitch to YouTube. We can't say enough to say thank you. All I can say is thank you for being a part of our community and making it so special. We're glad you joined us. That'll do it from us here at Dover, Delaware. Come back and join us again tomorrow on Patreon for the HHL Double Barrel Challenge as we go intermediate racing with the Xfinity cars. On behalf of everyone here for Winstel, all of its partners, and everyone here at ABN Studios, I'm Carmen, Sienna. Stay safe and stay healthy. See you tomorrow night. Until next time, so long, everybody, from Dover.